Hello, beautiful souls. This is Coach Carmen D, and I am so excited. You can hear it in my voice, right? I'm so very excited. February 4th will be our 1 year, the Bitter to Beautiful podcast 1 year anniversary. 1 year. And we're at like 52, maybe 53 episodes almost. We're celebrating 1 year. And I am so excited. It's our 1 year anniversary. And I am ecstatic. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Lynette so she can tell you how ecstatic she is.
I am ecstatic. Who would have thought that, not that we would have lasted for 1 year, but that we would have had so many things to talk about as it relates to bitterness. And it has been an amazing ride with Coach Charmin and you, our listeners. So we just want to show our gratitude and extend our gratitude for you or to you for tuning into the Bitter to Beautiful podcast. Um, from our first episode, Bitter Elements, How Did I Get Here? And then we had a number of guests join us. So our first guests that we had were actually our daughters. And it was around Mother's Day when we talked about transforming moments, self-love and inner beauty. And we talked about or our daughters actually led the episode, which was very interesting. They served as the hosts and they asked us questions and gave their insights on how Coach Charmin and I raised them to have self love and believe in their inner beauty, and outer beauty was included as well. And then our next guest, we had Coach Deidre, who is a licensed clinical therapist, and we talked about overcoming childhood bitterness. And that episode, I think, was deep. I believe we were crying in that episode because we recognized the things that we went through, but also celebrated the things that we overcame. And with the help of Coach Deidre, she helped us to recognize different things that we may go through as women in general. And she gave us some very good practical tips as well. And then we had in August, we had Nurse Anisha, who admonished us to make sure that we take care of ourselves, how to redefine personal wellness. And she gave us a lot of tips on how to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, not self maintenance, but self care, right? There's a difference. And then we had Coach Carol. Coach Carol joined our discussion as we talked about menopause, something that is not, well, at least in this nation, is not widely talked about. The buzz is getting out there a lot more, but I don't ever remember having a conversation about menopause so often and so much. So we're grateful for Miss Carol for joining us and teaching us how to bloom through menopause. She gave us, and that was episode 28, she gave us a number of tips for us to cope through menopause, the hot flashes, the things that we can eat, even supplements that we can take. So that was helpful for us. And please feel free to go back and listen to any of these episodes as you celebrate with us. And then we had Just Kim and the Hopkins sisters join us. And we talked about the caretaker, how to make sure you as a caretaker, whether you're a parent, whether you're a child taking care of a parent, whether you're a home health aide or nurse, how are you taking care of yourself? And they gave us some tips from personal experience And then we were joined by Granddaddy Ananias Hopkins, who sang us out. And oh my goodness, it was such a heartwarming episode. This family is just full of love, love, love. And I hope that as you listen to that episode, that you're able to feel the love through your headphones, through your devices, because they are a family of love and prayer, and we celebrate all their accomplishments with Hope by the Bay, 10 for 10, and Release the Weight.
Release the way.
Release the weight. And Coach Sherman and I are releasing the weight. Okay. We are releasing the weight. And then in October, we had Dr. Stella Hall, and we talked about renewing our mind and breaking free from limiting beliefs. And we talked about the imposter, how imposter syndrome can affect us, and how we can learn how to overcome dealing with the different imposters, like perfectionist, the inner critic, the superhero, and I believe there's about two or three more. But we learned how to strengthen our mindset when it comes to those barriers that we often face. And then in December, we talked about the gambler. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. And we had an enjoyable time. And with that, who knew that a song would be our theme for this podcast? And so here we are in 2025, and we decided that it was important for our listeners to know what bitterness actually looks like, because we found that in our own separate and conversations that we've had together, that many people are saying, I don't know, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. So we said, let's dispel those lies and really speak to the hearts of our listeners so that they can begin to, one, identify and recognize where they may have some form of bitterness, and then begin to heal and transform. And so our latest group of episodes included I Love You, but I Don't Like You. And I'm going to pass it to Coach Charmin.
I love you, but I don't like. We've ended up on the different sides when it comes to I love you, but I don't like you. And if you have not had the opportunity, please go and listen to those episodes. I believe it's 49A, 49B, and 50. I'm telling you, it was an interesting conversation, but I digress. So, Coach Lynette, was there any special or any particular episode that meant the most to you that you liked or you didn't like? What do you want to share that?
I really did love having the special guests, and that's why I highlighted them. It was nice to have another voice on this journey to join us and share from their perspective, whether personal, whether professional, or just through their own experiences and specialties. They added a special piece to here to the podcast, and I am grateful. um but I think, Coach Sherman and I have been talking, and we say that the first episode where we had a difference in opinion was I love you, but I don't like you. But I want to say that it started with My Bitter Valentine, that love's got everything to do with it. And I think we had one more. I love and I've been saying this a lot, I really do love and appreciate my friendship and partnership with Coach Charmin, because we are free to be ourselves. We can talk about just about anything. There's no room for bitterness. She declares all the time, I don't care what it is, I'm not letting you go. I'm not letting you go. And I truly feel the same way. This relationship and this podcast has brought healing to my life. As we started off, we were both very honest and said, we're not there all the way, but we're working there and we're healing right along with you. But we decided to heal. We made the decision to heal. And here we are a year later. So I would have to say, I don't know if I can choose um, which episode, but I appreciated all of them and the one with all our guests, but I love the one with our daughters because it came at a pivotal time of healing in both our relationships with our daughters, and to have them host and to serve one, I believe that it empowered them to see their ability in doing something great like this, and paying it forward to help others to heal. I think that that was great. um I want to say the one with Coach Deidre allowed some more healing, because just when you thought you healed over something, you gotten over something, something comes up. Um, I really did enjoy that one, and just Coach Deidre just has a wonderful heart. I loved Granddaddy and the Hopkins reminded me of how my family was, or how I grew up with not just my family, but with my village. So it was very reminiscent for me. And to have uh, a patriarch of the family serve in that way, you can see the impact was outstanding. And we love Dr. Stella. So I would have to say, and I think you nailed it on the head, that so far, because of this journey, I think that I love you, but I don't like you, maybe my all-time favorite. We had such a good time recording it.
We did. Yes, and I do. That doesn't, well, yes, because it's the year is from February of last year until now, so that should be included, even though it's
Mm-hmm.
five. It happens to be one of my favorites as well. It's hard to pick because all of them are in my heart. Just to give some context, that Bitter to Beautiful started off on a stage in Clubhouse. It
Mm-hmm.
conversation that we were having, and I can't quite remember what the conversation was about, but I said out of my mouth, God doesn't want you bitter, he wants you beautiful. And it became a thing. And I thank God for the opportunity to be able to speak on that stage, because that stage, many of us were made healed. Many of us got our voice on that stage. So
Mm-hmm.
I would be amiss if I don't thank Dr. Tavis Taylor, because she is my coach and Coach Lynette's coach. And I gotta honestly say, I say, but God, I know it was God. But if he didn't put her in my life, then I don't think that there would be a Bitter to Beautiful podcast right now. So I've got to say thank you, thank you, thank you, woman of God, for your pour, for your honesty, for your purpose driving, because you are a purpose pusher. That's what you do. I thank you. But I want to say that the Bitter to Beautiful podcast will continue to go on. We will have so many more episodes with so many more people. We are not stopping until God says stop. But I do want to say there was one particular episode that kind of touched my heart, because it created some transformation. It was Reclaim Your Narrative, writing your Bitter to Beautiful story. That episode was awakening for me. If I can say, if I can use that word. And the reason being is because, just like Coach Lynette said, we never claimed to be perfect. We never claimed that we weren't going to experience emotions when recording these episodes. That episode helped me, put me in a place where I kind of relived some of what gone through in the past, but it also
Mm-hmm.
helped me to transform, because we talked about bitterness and how to forgive and how to move past and how to let go, and to know who we were in God. And that made a difference, because when I was going through what I was going through the many years ago that I was going through them, and the reason why Bitter to Beautiful birthed, because of me becoming a part of this community, God said things to me that I didn't know about myself. He said I was worthy, I was courageous, I was faithful,
Mhm.
resilient conqueror. When he said those things, I didn't believe them. And I was able, through my coach, my friends, that community, to know that that's who I really was in God. And this is why that was one of the most best, one of the, well, my second best, I would say, my second best, that was so near and dear to my heart. And I want to say this with all my heart and all my soul, that as we celebrate this 1 year anniversary, I pray that when you listen, you experience moments of transformation. That the tips that we give, the guidance that we give is, listen, we're gonna always put you back to God. We're gonna always always send you back to God. But we pray that this is not for nothing. That you know for a fact, as I say it consistently in our episode, that God doesn't want you bitter. He wants you beautiful. And that you stand on that, and that you seek that, and that you know that with all your heart and your soul. And we would like to thank every guest that was on the Bitter to Beautiful stage. We can't wait for what 2025 would have for us, because listen, I love you, but I don't like you. It's just, it's pivoting, it's moving. Everybody like it. So I say to you, please listen to that episode, or listen to those episodes, because it's a couple of parts, and I'm telling you, you will really enjoy it. Do you have anything else to add, Coach Lynette?
Yes, while we gave honor to Dr. Tavis Taylor, and it is due. I also, even though we mentioned her name as a guest, I want to give honor to Dr. Stella Hall, Dr. Pastor Stella Hall, and they're both pastors within a community that we join. These ladies have been pivotal to our growth, to our healing and transformation. And I just want to say that I honor you both. It was on Dr. Stella's stage where I got my voice back. And before this podcast, I struggled to speak up and to speak out. And it was through her inviting me to the stage because she felt that I had something to say. And I just had a breakout moment. And if Coach Sherman would have asked me before that time to be on a podcast, my answer right away would have been no.
Mm-hmm.
But I thank God for healing. I thank God for transformation. I thank God for these two ladies and the ladies within the community as well. Um, because without their love and support, who would have known?
Would have known.
And when I say God does things well, he does things well in his time. So I'm grateful that we went through the phase of healing and transformation so that we can be catalysts for healing and transformation as you too, as our audience heals from bitterness, from resentment, from anger, from unforgiveness, from that hurt, that pain, the betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
Our prayer, our hope is that you too would recognize the pain, identify it, get to the root of it, and heal and watch your insides turn from bitter
The
to
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us in this 1 year celebration. We thank you, and there's more to come, because God ain't done with us yet.
Mm-mm.
Thank you. Peace.